exploring the issue of diversity. Washington STEM, core to our mission, and I think one of the reasons we wanted to feature women this morning so prominently in our program is this issue of advancing STEM education for particularly kids of color and for women. You gave a very interesting speech on diversity this spring. I'd ask you just to sort of begin by reflecting on some of the comments you made in that speech. And as the president of the university, one of the largest systems in our state, one of the largest number of employees, the largest grouping of students, how do you think about this broadly in terms of university life? And specifically, if you can, how do you think about diversity in STEM and the role of the university?
Okay, I just very briefly want to say that, there's no question. I don't think there should be any question in this room about diversity and making sure that we have equity in opportunity and in access in education is the right thing to do. But I also think it's the smart thing to do. We were just talking about the challenges of the future. We, as a nation, as a community, are not going to be able to meet those challenges with, in essence, more than one hand tied behind our back. We are going to need all the talent that we have in this country to move forward. And that includes an awful lot of people that are not, traditional white Anglo-Saxon Americans.
So I graduated from San Diego State as an electrical engineer, and I worked for a short time for GE, but really spent most of my career at Qualcomm, about 25 years. And when I first started, there were just a handful of women engineers there. And Qualcomm is, they make chips. They didn't make chips back then, but they were very, I would say in the category of tech, they were very high tech. So a lot of RF engineers, antenna engineers, and these still today don't graduate very many women in those categories. So here I was one of the, I think it was about 300 people there at the time at Qualcomm. But I was probably the fourth woman they hired. And so we were few and far between. And I struggled a little bit. It was tough. And I remember at performance reviews, I would go in and they would say, we just need you to speak up more. And we just kind of need you to get in there more and be one of the guys. I was told that over and over again. You just be one of the guys. Just get in there more. And this was a time in the industry, there was a lot of change going on, and being one of the guys would come into a table like this, it was all guys, and they wanted me to stand up more and to pound the table. I was actually told pound the table a few times. That'll let them know you mean business. And so I tried that. It was horrible. It had terrible outcomes. It wasn't me. I was so inauthentic. I was a terrible table pounder. And so I just thought, well, this isn't for me. I came this close to leaving. I mean, my whole trajectory of my career was in balance there. I was going to walk out the door, and I remember saying to my manager at the time, who I think he had his own issues at the time. He was a gay male, and he said, I hear you. Neither of us have to be something we're not. And between the two of us, we started working with HR, and we changed the performance criteria, the things that we were being rated on. I mean, if you looked at our performance reviews back then, you were rated on, being an assertive, aggressive, independent thinker, these things that I might not ever be, and I don't think he was going to ever be. So the two of us team up, and we went and we changed how we rated people. And it was a big shift in then who we hired after that, how we looked at teams. We wanted more diversity on teams. We didn't have all of the great information we have now. It was just sort of us finding our way forward. But I felt like we had an impact on that company, and then hopefully that had an impact on companies that Qualcomm dealt with. And I would say, I started Microsoft a little over a year ago. Almost every week at our senior leadership team, we talk about diversity and inclusion. There's some topic on the agenda. It is top of mind. We talk about it all the time. We puzzle about it. Why aren't we getting more women grads? Is there more we can do? And we do have many programs in place. We have things like Youth Spark, trying to engage young minds early in the benefits of a STEM career. But we still puzzle over the numbers. Why are they leaving? Once they're here, why are they leaving? Can we do more to retain them? And we've put programs in place. We're identifying leaders across the company, diverse leaders who when there's a new job open, we say, hey, let's make sure we're looking at everybody, not just falling to the same names. And sometimes you tend to fall into the same cycle that I think was happening when I was back at Qualcomm. You know, who do I hear from? Who's the loud one in the room? Who gives me a lot of input? That's not always the best person. We really need to look across the board and say who fits this job best.
How does the university think about the local tech economy and players in STEM? I don't want to limit it just to tech.
Well, I mean, you know, Microsoft has actually been a terrific partner. A couple of the things that they've done without going into GIX is they've really helped us in working with the legislature in lobbying for the importance of expanding computer science, which we know is at the center of this ecosystem, which includes all kinds of engineers, science, et cetera, but computer science is really at the center, and they've helped us.
What can we do to help advance and support the University of Washington, but more broadly, our institutions of higher education in the state?
It's interesting. I've been thinking about this. Dr. Maria Clave, who I'm sure you know,
Yes,
head of
sure.
Harvard Med, she's looked at this as well. You know, how do we support more STEM education? How do we get more people interested in it? And I think it goes back to the late, great Sally Ride. Dr. Sally Ride, the astronaut, said, you have to catch them early. You know, like by the 4th grade, you have to catch these kids. So I think we can all be part of that objective to talk to a young person in your life who's wondering what they're going to be when they grow up and say, what about being an engineer? What about going into a STEM career? And talk to them about the fascinating things they can do. They can work on the 100-year Starship.
It's not just about talking about careers in STEM, as important as that is, but making it part of citizenship. At this point, you can't serve, or you shouldn't be serving on a jury if you don't understand percentages, if you don't understand what, you know, DNA means and how. You know, it really is about basic science literacy, numeracy, and that as part of what in this world we need to be a citizen. Then there's also the career. So everyone, in that sense, everyone needs to have, you know, we were talking about at the University of Washington, in essence, STEMifying our entire curriculum because it is vital for being a good citizen in this society.